So I'm trying to come on and do my legal lesson today. Yes, I am home and casual in my home clothes, but I decided to still get in a legal lesson. So today, really quickly, I'm just gonna cover force majeure. And the two things that I wanted to add to this, so I'm just gonna go ahead and write it now, is one, partial performance. Am I gonna run out of space? Partial performance and carve outs. So I'm just gonna quickly cover that. So for those who don't know what a force majeure clause is, that is a clause that allows one of the parties, technically, often usually mutual, which means both, but one of the parties or both to be able to be relieved of their responsibilities in the event that an act of God occurs. Sorry, that is so, I don't like how slack that is. That's bothering me. Okay, all right, better. Act of God occurs, right? So that's weather. That's so best example where you'll see this clause is you're an artist, you're supposed to be performing at a festival, and it's a hurricane. Can't perform. It's an outdoor concert. Can't perform in this weather. That is an act of God. Therefore, that particular person who is obligated to show up, who cannot show up, is not in breach because it is an act of God that's out of their control. Which brings me to the partial performance part, which is in a situation like this. Let's say it's a 3-day festival, and the hurricane was on day 1 or 2. You still can show up to do the 3rd day. So you want to include in that language that truly, if an act of God truly happens, yes, you're relieved of your duties. However, only of the duties that you actually could not perform due to this act of God. Don't say, oh, well, there's a hurricane, so now I'm done for the whole 3 days. I'm gonna go back to, Bermuda or go back on vacation. No, if you're obligated to do 3 days, you can only be relieved of your duties from the partial part that was actually a hindrance. And carve outs is just that some people, because you want to define what's included in an act of God. Typically, weather is like the most common, familiar one. But nowadays, because of COVID, for example, that had to be looked at very strongly during COVID because there was a lot of clauses that did not include something like a pandemic. Now well, I'm not gonna say it's in every contract, but it is most, I'd say, advanced attorneys and people who have been, drafting templates for companies. They make sure that something like COVID is included. So again, you want to define what force majeure is, right? But the carve outs is some people like to get creative and add stuff that's not an actual act of God. So for example, economic hardship or something where, it's kind of like, well, bankruptcy. These are not acts of God. They may feel like one for you in your personal life, but they are not when it comes to this relationship and this agreement. So therefore, okay, my video cut off. So I forgot exactly what I was up to when it cut off, but it was something about, okay, so if there's economic hardship or something that you try to put in carve outs that does not belong because it's not an actual act of God, you can still, address that in another clause and say what will happen in those instances. But it should not, in my personal advice, you should not put that under force majeure because it is not an act of God when it comes to the world. This is usually something that's impacting the entire region or area of the contract, not, something personal in your life that's an act of God. But again, some people do try to get creative with that. So you want to make sure that when you look at that clause, it is truly acts of God. And if you want to take into account people's personal hardships and things that may happen in that regard, especially for like partnership agreements and things of that sort, you just put that under a different space. So that's pretty much it. I think that's it for this, but hope this helps.